Hey everyone, thanks again for all of your support. Really awesome. We love you guys. Keep it coming. So, we had a few people share their ghost stories with us, and we thought it'd be kind of fun to share some of our own. So, I'm going to tell you now a little story of something that happened when I was really young. And it was pretty freaky, and I kind of put it out of my mind, as a kid, because you don't want to, you're always told that monsters aren't real, and you don't want to freak yourself out every night. But I figure I'm going to share it now. Where my grandmother lives is a place north of Quebec City. Now, back in the day when I was a kid, we're talking about I was about 10 years old, there were all these farms along the side of a mountain. So, of course, your 6th range is up at the top. They're all called ranges. The 6th range up at the top, 1st range down at the bottom of the hill. And so, for the most part, we didn't really go anywhere. We just hung around the 4th range where my grandparents lived, and we picked strawberries. It was really, really beautiful, actually. There was a story floating around that the 1st range was abandoned. Something terrible happened to a kid that was apparently trapped in a cellar and died. Now, of course, if you're anything like me, the minute you find some kind of story and someone tells you don't ever go there, it's almost guaranteed that you're gonna go. I mean, that's part of being a kid, So me and my friends, 2 of my friends, so there's 3 of us total, hop on our bikes, roll down the hill. Really, really steep hill. It was pretty intense. So we get to the bottom of the hill, and we get to the 1st range. Now, when you get to these things, there's these 2 posts on either end of the driveway, and there's chains that run in between. So we just put our bikes down on the outside, and of course, we jump the chain, right? Because kids go where you're not supposed to go. When you get on the property, right away, you know that something felt off. I wouldn't say that you know that something's off, but something felt a little weird. Everything was dead. All the trees were dead. All the bushes were dead. The barn was old. All the paint had peeled off. It was grayish wood. The grass was dead. It just had this really freaky feel to it. And with everything being dead, it almost felt like it was all black and white. Like it almost felt like there was no color there. Obviously there was, but it had this really freaky vibe to it. So anyway, we're, checking out the property, and sure enough, we come up to cellar doors. Now, the way it was, because back in the day, obviously you didn't have any refrigerating units, so they would take all their products and they would stick them down underground to keep them cold, hence the cold room, right? So, I mean, there's the front of this place, and down on the ground, on a little angle, raised a little bit out of the bottom of the ground, are these 2 big wooden doors like you see in the movies, right? But they're real, because they're things that real farmers and stuff used to use. So these 2 wooden doors, locked with a padlock. So we run up to these doors. Well, run up. We're a little creeped out, so I'd say we probably snuck up to these doors. But we go up to these doors, and one of my friends is like, I think I hear something, which I think, we're probably just freaking ourselves out at that point. But it sounded like wind. Almost, a wind blows through a crack and makes that whistly kind of sound. It was a little bit like that, so it was probably the wind. Of course, we're getting closer and closer and closer, and we're creeping up to this place, and we try to open the doors because we're kids, we're idiots, obviously. So we try to open the doors, and it won't open. We pretty much give up, and just then, from inside these doors, we hear this loud bang. Now, it sounded, I guess the equivalent would be a heavy, like a metal can falling off a high shelf, and it hits the ground and makes that big sound. But it was this big bang sound, and it freaked us out. We ran. We just took off like full sprint. We start bolting up the hill, past our bikes, forget the bikes, keep running. We're just running up the hill. And now, of course, the hill was so steep that there's no way you're making it up the hill. There's no way. So, after, I don't know, about 3-4 minutes of running up the hill, we're all tired, out of gas, and we're like, oh my god, we have to go back for our bikes. Because we left all of our 3 bikes out there in front of the chain, so we got to go back for the bikes. So we go down, I'm going down for the bike, 3 of us go down for our bikes. 2 of the bikes are laying in front of the chain where we left them. 1 of the bikes is leaning up against the side of the 2 doors that we heard the noise come from, where the kid was supposedly locked in there and died. That was really crazy. We managed to get the bike, but we ran and swore never to talk about it again. That's why I didn't mention anyone's names. But yeah, it was something that really freaked us out as kids, and we put it out of our memory that, you know, we concocted this story that there was a hobo that was moving bikes and stuff. But it was a freaky experience, and it was definitely something else. It was a vibe that I didn't feel for a long time. So yeah, that's it. It's kind of a personal story, never been told before, so this is kind of weird for me, but hopefully you enjoyed the little ghost story. And hey, listen, if there's any sort of stories that you guys have experienced as a kid, even if it's just weird or mysterious or something that spooked you, we would love to hear it. We're all about that kind of stuff, and now we're all grown up, so we don't have to run away and leave our bikes behind anymore.